Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Griff here. Tonight we're going to be keeping it kind of casual. I thought I'd just have you sit in while I work on an Adobe Character Animator character, right? So for those of you that aren't familiar, Adobe Character Animator is a program that has live camera input, which means that you can animate your character using your face and your body, well, really just your head movement, and then your microphone will pick up the audio, and the character will try to do lip sync based on the audio that's getting fed to it. You can also do some cool things like trigger stuff and all these other things. I'm probably going to try to set up one trigger with this character. But overall, you don't get like really great animation the way you would with like a hand-drawn animation. I tend to think like hand-drawn takes the longest, looks the coolest because you can really exaggerate everything, squash and stretch, all that great stuff. Then you get into something like flash animation, which looks, good, but it just doesn't have that same kind of appeal to it. And then we get to Adobe Character Animator, which is like even a step further from flash animation as far as quality. But what's cool about it is that you can stream with it, which is really nice, and you can get something done really fast. So what I'm thinking is I was going to go ahead and do Vanoss, which is a streamer. I'm sure many of you, if you're watching this, are familiar with him. And he played Grand Theft Auto, and one of the masks in Grand Theft Auto was this owl mask. And so it just became kind of a symbol for him, and he even ended up forming his logo to look like an owl. So I thought it'd be really cool to do that and kind of give like a what would it be like to have this avatar as like his streaming avatar, and we could just kind of see what that looks like. And I thought it would also be challenging is that I've done a couple human characters now. I wanted to try something like an owl beak, and how would I go ahead and do like the phonemes and the expressions for that. So this should be fun. I'm not going to talk too much. It's not going to be like 100% of a tutorial. Keeping it casual, follow along. I'll speed things up so it doesn't get too boring for you. So what I did here is I started out with a template file. And this is basically just a Photoshop document that I went ahead and created all these layers, groups, that kind of stuff. And that way I don't have to do that every single time. And this isn't everything you'd want in a character. You could go way beyond, but it's a good starting point. I'll pop this up on the website if anyone wants to download that. And also on that site I have a cheat sheet. So if you're here trying to learn a little bit of Adobe Character Animator, the cheat sheet will show you all the basic layers you'd need. I used it for the PewDiePie character I did, which just shows you like all the mouth shapes and what you name everything, so that when you save the Photoshop file and bring it into Character Animator, everything sort of auto hooks up. Alright, so what I did here first is I created a pen and paper sketch of what I wanted the basic character to look like, and then I'm going to go ahead and paint over this until I get something that I'm happy with. And like most characters, I'm going to start with my head background, and I'm going to use my pen tool just to get like a really nice clean line going. So yeah, here we go. Alright, so what I did here is I want to try to deform kind of like this beak area with the phonemes and get this big mass moving around. And so here I'm just creating like an underlayer, and then I'll go ahead and draw layers on top of that and see where I end up collapsing them later. I like using this method of drawing shapes if I'm doing something really cartoony, where I want everything to be just nice and crisp. As you can see now, I can go in here and edit these vector points and just line everything up. I end up deleting a lot of the, I guess they're called anchor points in here. And now I'm trying to plan this out so that I can build my mouth shapes from these shapes I'm drawing in Photoshop. Well, I'm not just drawing stuff over and over again. I'm all about getting it done as fast as I can and still making it look good. Cool. Let's try to go ahead and get this big eye drawn out. This is just a little thing. Keep in mind when drawing eyelids, is eyelids are a piece of skin that wraps around the eyeball. So you always want to try and like show that. And I might actually pronounce that just a bit more. I kind of like what's happening on this side over here, but it's not quite as pronounced there. But that's cool. I can always select this upper lid again, grab this direct selection tool, and if you right click on here you can add an anchor point. Alright, so I'm just pulling back a little bit just to get kind of an overview of what I got going on right now. If you're designing something and you want the colors to look good together, there's a whole, field of color theory you can study. So one of the things I do try to do is get a nice palette. And before I get too far, I should have done this sooner. I should get, like, let's say this orange that I'm using, and I can get its hex value. And what that's gonna do, I can just copy this here in Photoshop down at the bottom when I have the color selected. I can come into here, into this online program called Colors. I think that's how they say it. And I'm just gonna paste that color into there. So generally I'll just cruise through here and kind of find something that's gonna work for me, and I'll use that as my palette, and things tend to look better. Cool, so here's the palette I just pulled out of that program. It's pretty cool. I got like kind of a gray, which maybe I'll even turn the eyes that color, like this white. Instead of white, I'll give it like a kind of cool gray. And then, I end up with this yellow that I can use for the interior of the eye, because now that I'm looking back, it's generally got some kind of yellow like that. And I got my dark brown for my feathers here. And the cool thing, I mean, you can go light or darker on any of these colors and it all still works. It's just, you always want to try to keep your palettes nice and simple, or it gets too noisy and confusing. So let's just take a moment, crank up the opacity on everything, and just see where we stand right now. Right, everybody, so probably what I'm going to do now is just fix this up, and I'll record that and like speed it up so you can see it. But first I want to make a public service announcement. I'm always listening to tunes while I'm drawing, and I like to add something to videos like this, especially during the parts where I just kind of like speed paint. So if anybody out there is making music and you would like to let me use that music to put in my videos, I will do that, and I will give credit to you and point them towards whatever videos or SoundCloud or whatever it is you're using. Cool? Alright, here we go. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to want to do here is create phonemes, which is basically like A, E, an M, or P. Now for this character though, since I'm already dealing with a beak, I'm probably not going to make those like crazy. I'm going to just try to pare it down, like I might only have an O instead of an O and a W and stuff like that. Because I'm not going to be able to get like a huge amount of shapes out of this. I could probably push it, but I'm going to try to keep it simple. To show you an example of that, let me open up my PewDiePie file. So this dude, he actually has a right profile, a front, and a left profile, right quarter, left quarter. So he's got all these different head turns. So we can have the front side and the left side, or like a little bit more left. And each one of these has all these layers. You know, we got our hair group here, so we can have some dynamic hair, eyebrows. And then the mouth is what I want to look at. So as you see here, it has like F, and I even have the beard kind of like moving with these shapes, R, just to give it a little variety as I go, L, that sort of thing. So now I'm going to want to do something similar to this dude here. For this, I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm probably going to have just this one view, and then, you know, we'll see how it goes. If people like it, then I'll build it up, and we can put like the front views and all these different things. But for this one, I really want to focus on setting up triggered actions. And I just want to pull a few cool things that Vanoss says and kind of have like this animated thing that happens whenever he says it. So, but I think for tonight, I'm going to leave it right here because we've already spent a long time together. So come on back if you want to see me go ahead and work out the mouth shapes. And then when I'm done with that, I will trying to think here. When I'm done with that, I'm probably going to try to figure out just how I want to handle some brows. I'll make like a blink shape so you can at least blink. And then we'll start moving into Adobe Character Animator, and I'll show you how we rig this whole thing up.